Much of what we know about Seneca's philosophy comes through the letters he wrote offering guidance to friends during difficult times. One such friend, Lucilius, was a civil servant stationed in Sicily. At one point, Lucilius faced a lawsuit that risked ending his career and tarnishing his name. He wrote to Seneca in distress. "You might expect," Seneca replied, "that I'll urge you to envision a happy resolution and rely on the comforts of hope. But instead, I will guide you toward peace of mind through another route." That route culminated in this advice. If you want to eliminate anxiety, assume that what you're afraid of is certain to happen. This captures a fundamental Stoic idea. We must always imagine the worst-case scenario, then remind ourselves that we are capable of surviving it. The point is not to believe that terrible things won't occur, but to realize that our strength in facing them is far greater than we assume. To soothe Lucilius, Seneca encouraged him to become at ease with the ideas of poverty, disgrace, and long-term unemployment, to come to see from a different angle that these conditions are not the end of all things. "If you lose the case," Seneca asked, "what's the worst that can follow? Exile, prison?" He himself had endured both, bankruptcy and 8 years of exile in Corsica. "Hope for perfect justice, but prepare yourself mentally for perfect injustice." Seneca then gave Lucilius a meditation to consider as he sat in the comfort of a home he feared he might soon lose. "I may become poor, then I will simply join the ranks of the many who are. I may be exiled, then I shall act as though I was born in the land where I'll be sent. I may be imprisoned, but what of it? Am I not already chained to this heavy body as nature has bound me?" Seneca insisted that we must train ourselves to contemplate not only the events we tend to expect or plan for, those common to our peers or remembered in recent history, but the full spectrum of possibilities. And that includes the darker, less palatable realities. Devastating fires, sudden tragedies, and premature deaths. Nothing, Seneca wrote, should ever catch us off guard. Let us keep in full view the complete nature of human fate, not just the evils that sometimes occur, but the most extreme ones possible. We must contemplate fortune in its entirety. When a friend of Seneca's lost his son, Seneca's consolations took a similar direction. Marcia, a woman of senatorial lineage, was broken after the death of her son Metilius, who hadn't yet reached 25. Her mourning persisted endlessly. 3 years passed, and her grief only deepened. Seneca wrote her an essay, hoping that enough time had passed since the boy's death that she'd accept more than traditional condolences, something sterner but perhaps more helpful. Losing a son may indeed be a mother's greatest sorrow, yet given the fragile nature of the human body, Metilius's early death belonged to a relentless natural cycle, one that makes itself known daily. "We never expect misfortune before it arrives," Seneca noted. "So many funerals pass our doors, and yet we rarely think on death. So many lives end prematurely, yet we plan for our children's future. How they'll wear the toga, serve in the army, inherit property. They might indeed do those things, but how foolish to love them without acknowledging that we were never promised they'd live to adulthood, or even through the day." Marcia found Metilius' death shocking only because she had trusted in a hopeful but misguided view of life. You say, "I didn't think it would happen." But why? When you know it could happen, and when it has happened to many others, why assume it would not happen to you? Seneca imagined encountering Marcia before her birth, taking her on a tour of this unpredictable world so she could weigh its nature before choosing to enter it. She would see on one hand breathtaking beauty and rare goodness, and on the other, moments of terrible suffering. Would she have still chosen life? Her very existence implied her answer. And crucially, Seneca and the Stoics added that when life becomes truly unbearable, we are not obligated to persist indefinitely. In another letter, Seneca wrote, "The wise person will live only as long as they should, not merely as long as they can. They consider the quality of their life, not just its length. When trouble multiplies and peace of mind is gone, they release themselves. And this right belongs not just in times of crisis, but whenever misfortune seems to be striking." He looked around carefully to decide whether life, under certain terms, was still worth continuing. To him, it made no difference whether life ends by nature's hand or by one's own decision. He saw no tragedy in it, for little can be lost when there is little left to lose. The question is not when one dies, but how. And to die well means to escape the pain of living badly. Seneca wasn't suggesting impulsive or careless exits, but was rather trying to bolster our courage by reminding us, when all rational means are exhausted, we retain the dignity to choose our end. When we feel broken, consumed by anger, fear, or sadness, Stoicism, with its steady and uncommon wisdom, stands ready as it has for 2 millennia, offering its strange, strengthening, and deeply compassionate friendship.